Home Team Baseball presented by Firestone. Welcome to the Champions Club. Welcome to Busch Stadium, and welcome to St. Louis Cardinals baseball as they'll play host to the Houston Astros, the first of three this weekend in St. Louis. Chris Carpenter, outstanding in his first start. Back in the rotation, 7 innings, 1 hit, 1 run, unearned. He walked 2 and struck out 7. Vintage Carpenter yesterday afternoon. With Al Raboski, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Welcome to the broadcast booth, and we welcome you to baseball. Al, when you look at this, these two franchises have been back and forth in the NL Central for years, Houston and St. Louis. So it's a renewed rivalry starting tonight.
Well, they've had a lot of fun. A few years back, they had a guy named Lance Berkman. Might have been the premier hitter in the Central Division, but then Albert Pujols came on the scene. Both of these guys are so similar, but you can tell they really are the #1 guys in their lineup, and they both have a good supporting cast, but I think Albert's always been a little bit better than Berkman.
Berkman and Pujols, the Toyota keys for both teams. When we come back, Mike Hampton is back in a Houston uniform. We'll scout the starters when we return. A look at tonight's starters, and we begin with Cardinals right-hander Joel Pinheiro.
Joel arguably had the best spring of any of the Cardinals starters, and he's really carrying that into the regular season with 7 innings of work last Sunday.
And for Houston, we flash back. Mike Hampton back with the Astros, and he has 10 career wins against St. Louis.
And you talk about he hasn't been back pitching the Astros since 1999. A bulldog attitude, and hopefully he can go out there and help them out.
When we come back, we'll flash back to a season ago. Miguel Tejada with a walk-off winner. A look at that when we return on Fox Sports Midwest. The definition of an ace, as defined by Webster's, is a person who excels at something. That defines yesterday's starter, Chris Carpenter of the Cardinals, the ace of the staff. He was remarkable in his first start of the year as he took a no-hitter into the 7th. The Cardinals split their first series 2-2 with the Pirates. Manager Tony La Russa experienced the highs and lows of a 162-game season in just the first 4 games. The disappointment of opening day, a win in Game 2, the struggle of Game 3, the importance with the starter of Game 4. At Busch Stadium this weekend, an old nemesis comes to St. Louis. The Houston Astros make their way to town. Joel Pinheiro gets the call tonight. It's the St. Louis Cardinals and the Houston Astros next on Fox Sports Midwest. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Bud Light. With just the right taste that never fills you up, the difference is drinkability. By Steak and Shake, famous for steak burgers. And by Auto Tire, for the lowest prices in town. Choose Auto Tire. We shop the competitors so you don't have to. It is a cold, chilly night here in downtown St. Louis. We're glad you're with us on Fox Sports Midwest. The Houston Astros, their first visit to town to take on the Cardinals here in 09. And the first start of the season for Joel Pinheiro, the right-hander, coming off a very good spring, Al.
Well, he was very good in spring training. Remember, he was upset that Oquendo didn't make him or select him for the starting rotation in the Puerto Rican team. But he used that motivation in the right way. He was upset. Used that to have a good solid spring training, and the important thing for me was he went 7 innings last time. He's always given you that consistent 5 or 6 innings, but can he go beyond that point and still shut down the opposition?
30-year-old right-hander Joel Pinheiro to Kaz Matsui. Matsui 3 for 12 in the young year as the Astros drop 2 of 3 against Chicago at home. The 2-1 pitch slapped foul and out of play. Last season, the Cardinals were 12-13 when Pinheiro made the start.
He was a .500 pitcher a year ago, but he had 2 stints on the disabled list, and I think he's been healthy all spring, and it'll be better this season.
Next pitch, a grounder, tough play, charging Green, has to be quick. Got him. Nice play by Khalil Green.
You see the way Khalil was playing up the middle, so he really had to circle the ball and get his momentum behind the throw.
A look at the Astros lineup, brought to you by Marshall Wireless. Kaz Matsui, Hunter Pence off to a good start. He'll dig in. Then Berkman, 137 games against the Redbirds, 111 RBIs. Lee, Tejada, Blum, Rodriguez, Bourne, and Mike Hampton.
There's a few hitters in this lineup that like Cardinal pitching,
including Pence. He is a lifetime .350 hitter against St. Louis.
And Pence hadn't had many at-bats against Pinheiro, who has not faced Astros since September of '07. But there are numerous in that lineup that have hit him well.
Hunter Pence, 4 for 10 so far to start the year. Couple of home runs, 3 RBIs. He's got 1 batting glove and then no glove on the other hand. Don't see that very often, do you?
No. And I don't think it's because he left one at home.
Slowly hit Pinheiro. Bare hands. Makes the play.
By far, Joel Pinheiro is the best defensive pitcher.
All those kick saves along the way with Joel Pinheiro. Duncan, Ankiel, and Ludwig in the outfield. Freeze, Green, Schumacher, and Pujols on the infield. The battery tonight, Pinheiro and Molina. Auto tire defense for St. Louis. Here's Lance Berkman. Cardinals' best record in the National League since 2000. And these two pretty much neck and neck. It's the Cardinals, the Braves, Giants, Dodgers, and then the Astros as far as the best records in the National League since 2000. Some great battles over the years between Houston and St. Louis, basically since Tony La Russa arrived.
Right now, Skip Schumacher made me more comfortable defensively than he has been all year.
Look at that shift. So Pujols near that line. And on the outfield grass is Green, the second base side, as they pitch inside, taken for a ball, 2-1. And then Schumacher is way out there.
He's out there and playing the outfield, so you can see why Skip's a little more comfortable right now with this extreme shift.
Up the middle, positioned perfectly on the broken bat. Green. Cardinals coming up in their half of the first, and there's no score. No score as we move to the bottom of the first here at Busch Stadium. 45 degrees here in St. Louis. We understand it'll be nice, though, here at the ballpark tomorrow. The Marshall Wireless lineup: Schumacher, Green, and Pujols. Then Ludwig, Duncan, Molina, Ankiel, Freeze, and Pinheiro. And Albert coming off a 7 for 14 series to open up the year against Pittsburgh. An old friend is back. How about Mike Hampton now wearing that Houston uniform?
Well, 36-year-old, and his second stint with the Astros. He has not pitched a regular season game since losing Game 3 of the 1999 NLDS for Houston against Atlanta.
A look at their defense. Around the horn, brought to you by Auto Tire. Lee, Bourne, and Pence in the outfield. Blum, Tejada, Matsui, and Berkman along the infield. Hampton and Pudge Rodriguez. The battery tonight. Two-time All-Star is Mike Hampton back in '99 and 2001. He's won a Gold Glove. Did that in '03. He's also had 5 Silver Slugger awards. Very good hitting pitcher.
First pitcher in history to win a Gold Glove and a Silver Slugger award in the same year. And '99, he led the National League with 22 wins.
Cardinals saw him with New York back in 2000 when he really shut down St. Louis, and it set up the Subway Series with the Mets and Yankees. Skip is 2 for 8 back at second base again this evening, and back in a familiar spot, the leadoff spot.
And interesting to see Skip batting against a left-handed starter, you know, in the leadoff spot. Hampton throwing a lot more breaking balls, but you know, a football mentality. Not a big guy, but boy, he just knows how to compete. Missed 2 full seasons with his elbow issues and a couple surgeries.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. Mike Hampton, I remember visiting with him, and he talked about his relationship with Darryl Kyle, and those two were very, very close. 2-2. You talked about the football mentality of
Mike Hampton, recruited in football by Florida and Rutgers. He was a defensive back. Off the end of the bat and a base hit. Off the glove of Jeff Blum, and the leadoff man is aboard, Skip Schumacher.
Good start as Jeff Blum, and I think because it's so cold, it's hard to get these bodies moving, but goes to his left and smothers the ball, but it sneaks out as he really overdove, and it hits on the heel of the glove and gets by him.
His shortstop, Khalil Green, 4 for 17 against Pittsburgh and 3 RBIs. It was a good play defensively there by Green in the first inning.
He's had success when facing Mike Hampton.
Short lead at first by Schumacher. Pujols on deck, and the first pitch to Green. Take it for a strike. Mike Hampton received that huge contract from Colorado for what he did with Houston and then the Mets. And after that, he bounced around Colorado, Atlanta, and now here in Houston. On the outside corner, just missed. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Seemed like he had Colorado paying his contract to about 3 different ball clubs.
Khalil Green, a .429 hitter in his career against Hampton. Houston actually finished in front of the Cardinals last year.
Oh yeah, by 1 game. Remember, they were really making a run at the wild card, and probably were going to win the wild card, and then you had Hurricane Ike came in and just really played havoc with their schedule. Remember, they had to go up to, could not play in Houston. Half the players, or a good portion of players, were missing electricity for a couple weeks, as they had to play a series in Milwaukee, a neutral site, but against the Cubs, but that's not neutral.
3rd season. This will be the 2nd full year for Cecil Cooper. Fine player in his own right. But Houston was actually within 2 games of Milwaukee at that time when Hurricane Ike hit. And the Stros had to relocate those home games in Milwaukee, and then they lost 5 straight. And they were outscored in those games 38-5. Remember, Carlos Zambrano threw a no-hitter against them.
He threw a no-hitter, and the next night I think they got 1 hit off of Lily.
That's right.
Went down to Florida and just were decimated there.
Called 3rd strike on Green. Brings in Pujols. Houston had won 6 in a row and 14 of 15. And Lance Berkman talked about it, how their homes were just in shambles. Their minds were with their families and not concerned about playing baseball, obviously. Probably the last thing on their mind.
That's tough when you have to go on the road and your families are still trying to find a place to stay.
First pitch to Albert. Hit a mile high, and Bourne is looking for it, but he hit it so high now he can locate it. This time of night, a little tough to pick up. Schumacher back to first.
Now, Michael Bourne did the right thing as he identified that he was struggling with the ball and trying to tell his infielders to help him out.
Here's Ludwig.
See, now he's telling all these guys that, hey, the lights have not taken in effect. So any ball that's hit in the air, you know, it's hard to pick up.
He's asking
that right to you at home.
Yeah, he's asking Lee, did you see that?
And Big Puma said, yeah, I saw it, but it's your ball.
Big Puma's not going to move, huh?
No,
he's there to hit. And he could do that. Foul ball off the shin or foot for Ludwig on this cold night. That can't feel good. Houston in their bullpen, they have once again Jose Valverde back to close games out, the 2-time National League saves leader.
And Milwaukee took a late rally to beat the Cubbies today up in Milwaukee.
This was a pretty good defensive team a year ago. Houston only 67 errors for the year. Ludwig is still limping a bit. Most people have picked Chicago to win this division.
Yeah, you got to pick them to win the division, but you know, everything is played the games between the white lines. How about a 14-game hitting streak for Ludwig dating back to last season?
Here's the 0-2. Michael Bourne, the center fielder, is very shallow for Ludwig, and so is Pence and Wright.
Take a look at him out there. Big gap out in right center.
One-two pitch. Ed Wade, the former Phillies GM, really laid the groundwork for Philadelphia and their success in winning the World Series. Was with the Astros last year, and many of the Phillies acknowledged Ed Wade as far as getting them to that position to at least have a chance to compete for a championship, and lo and behold, they won it. We saw him just outside our booth.
Yeah, it's kind of like Bing Devine, the late Bing Devine. What a great baseball mind he was, but laid the groundwork for the 67, 68 Cardinal teams when he went to the Mets, and then came back to the Cardinals in 69 when the Mets win.
Right. 2-2 pitch. The Amazons down the right field line. It's slicing and foul. Houston got off to a really rough start. They started 6-12 last year, 11-27 overall, but it seems like it's now a tradition when you talk about the Astros.
Second half.
Man, oh man. Now they finished up 42-24 in the second half.
Yeah, but as you said, they were right on pace to sneak into the playoffs with that great second half, but then the natural disaster of Hurricane Ike kind of foiled that thought process. Games you win in April, you don't have to win in September.
With Troy Hawkins, he was picked up, and he's back with the Stros this year. They also traded for Randy Wolf, and Houston went 10-2 in his starts, so that really helped out down the stretch as well.
Yes.
Count is full on Ludwig, so Schumacher off with a pitch. Veterans Day, the oldest average age of an opening day roster. Houston, 32. Phillies up there as well. The White Sox, the Mets, and Yankees. 3-2 pitch. Just got a piece.
Remember, they signed Ivan Rodriguez out of the World Baseball Classic, and so that added to their age. You know, this year, Rodriguez is going to end up passing Boone and Carlton Fisk, and they'll caught more games at the major league level than any other catcher in history.
18th consecutive opening day start this past Monday for Pudge. Longest active streak among any position player right now in the big leagues. 3-2 again. Taken low. Good at bat by Ludwig. And here's Duncan. Duncan 3 for 10 against Pittsburgh with a home run. The Game 2 win. It was a 2-run shot off the foul pole down the right field line. First and second, 2 outs. Cardinals half of the first. First pitch, a strike by Hampton. Well, Mike Hampton's getting up there, Al. So how has he changed from when we last saw him in the National League with, you know, Houston, and then when he was very good with the Mets?
Well, I think a few more breaking balls. Still can run the fastballs in on the right-handed batters. Throw that cutter. You know, he's a good competitor, and you know, velocity's down a little bit, but swing him around slightly to pull the ball in right field. And you could say Bourne is a little too shallow for Duncan also.
Here's a 1-1 pitch. Check swing. and did not go.
Big gap out in the left center. If Duncan gets hold of a hanging breaking ball.
A 2-1 pitch to Duncan. Here it comes. Check swing again. That time a strike. 2-2. Last 8 games here in St. Louis between these two teams, and the Cardinals have won 6 of those, as they've hit .339 against the Astros with runners in scoring position. Have a chance here in the first. 2-2. Duncan pulls it for a base hit. Schumacher being waved in. Hunter Pence with the throw to the plate, not cut off. 1-0 Cardinals. And Duncan delivers his 3rd RBI of the year.
Jose Oquendo, extremely aggressive third base coach, and knows the. You know, you talk to me and you ask him how to rate the outfield arms, and you basically say, I don't really care. If I get a chance, I'm going to be aggressive and I'm going to send somebody. And even at the breaking ball right there, stays up a little bit, pulls it through the hole on the right side, and you see Schumacher just waved on home, and Ludwig goes from first to third on the same play.
Chance now for Molina with 2 outs and runners at first and third. Yadier 4 for 14. He, along with Pudge Rodriguez, part of that World Baseball Classic team of Puerto Rico. Pudge was looking for a job.
That's right.
Finished up last year with the Yankees.
Future Hall of Famer out there looking for a job, and because of the World Baseball Classic, he won one.
1 ball, 1 strike.
Probably looking at the, even though there's a lot of competition, good young catchers in the National League, but you're looking at a great catcher, future Hall of Famer in Pudge Rodriguez, and one of the young emerging stars in Molina.
Count of 1 ball, 1 strike with 2 outs. Good pitch, taken for a ball.
Not afraid to pitch inside, but you can see that pitch count very high here already for Hampton in the first inning.
It's the big Puma over there at first. Lance Berkman. El Caballo out left. The 2-1 pitch. 3-1. A lot of off-speed pitches from Hampton here.
Probably the psychological, you feel like, oh, I don't throw as hard, I've got to trick people. But still, the fastball is the best pitch. It sets up all the others.
Big gap into right center field. Might be doing Molina a favor. Very good at going with the pitch. Just missed outside. And the bases are loaded for Ankiel. Ankiel is 2 for 13 so far. Tejada, Rodriguez, and Hampton all there on the mound for a visit. Ludwig, Duncan with a base hit and RBI, and Molina over at first.
.304 career hitter against Houston is Rick, but only 184 last season.
Hampton approaching 30 pitches here in the first inning.
Talked about Hampton throwing a lot of off-speed pitches, and if Rick gets a hold of a hanger, Cardinals might have a big first inning.
Numbers so far in the first 4 games. Playing center field tonight, Rick Ankiel. Bases loaded. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Right down the middle.
2 off-speed pitches to start the sequence. Big gap out in left center. Bourne shading the right field, the center fielder.
1-1 pitch to Ankiel. Pulled foul. 1-2. Brandon Backey is not in the rotation right now for Houston. Been dealing with a strained muscle in his side for about a month. He did throw his side session the other day, but that will help their cause for sure.
I feel for Backey. You know, he just can't stay healthy. Good competitor, fun competitor. I read where one National League scout said the Astros rotation is a #1, Oswalt, 3 number 5s, and a 6.
1-2 pitch. Ankiel swings and misses. So Rodriguez steps on the plate. The Cardinals strand the bases loaded, but they pick up the 2-out base hit from Duncan. 1-0 after 1 at Busch. Top of the second, and it's 1-0 Cardinals. If you're traveling and can't catch the Redbirds on TV, catch all the action on your computer at MLB.tv. And catch over 100 live out-of-market games per week. For details, visit STLCardinals.com, where baseball is always on. Pinheiro back to work with a 1-0 lead, thanks to Chris Duncan and his 2-out single to right.
This is where on a cool evening like this that you've got to take those 8 warm-up tosses, really kind of utilize them much more effectively after a long half inning. You're sitting in that dugout. It's cold out there. Carlos Lee, who had another 100 RBI season interrupted with injuries early. This guy can hit, can he?
He can. Gave him $100 million.
And I'll tell you that 99.999 thousand of that is from my offense.
I'd say all of it is.
When he's playing in Minute Maid, though, because of the short porch there,
get away with it.
He's been a lot better.
There's a base hit to the opposite field. First of the night for Houston. You're right, with the Crawford boxes, short porch and left, not as much ground to cover, and that's one of the reasons why you see Michael Bourne out there with his very good speed.
And Michael Bourne has to cover everything from that, the corner of the scoreboard where it gets a little tricky. But I'm not saying it's an easy field to play, because a lot of balls go off that wall and tricky caroms.
See Tejada, 5-for-11 so far. Tuesday, Jeff Keppinger, they picked up from Cincinnati, picked up the game-winning hit against Chicago, their only win in that series.
How about a way to break in with your new ball club?
You bet. He'd been there for just 7 days.
And that was his first plate appearance of the year. He gets a game winner. That was the first time since, I think it was all the way back to '73 when Jim Crawford, a pitcher, won a ball game, with his first plate appearance.
They intentionally walked Tejada to get to him. He made him pay with a game-winning hit.
Good sign there as Pinheiro gets Tejada to knees to buckle as he's fooled by the delivery.
Tejada hits it out to right. It'll hang up there for Ludwig. He'll make the catch. Lee back to first. Busy night here in St. Louis with the Blues down the street. That's a good start. 1-0 Blues. That's one of their biggest games that they've had on home ice, Al, in probably about 5 years.
I was going to say at least 5 years. And good luck to the Blues.
Next telecast on Fox Sports Midwest will be this Sunday, the Blues and Avalanche. 1 out, runner at first, and the pitch is taken for a ball by Jeff Plum.
And I know FS Midwest is doing everything possible to make sure that all the playoffs, and I say not if, but when the the Blues are in the playoff, that all those games will be televised.
Still don't know the matchups yet. A lot of different things can happen here in the next 3 days. Pinheiro would love a double play and send us to the bottom of the second.
You don't want
Plum
Detroit
is 3 for 7.
You don't want Detroit or San Jose in the first round, do you?
There's a good chance you're going to get one or the other. Good luck.
Bet those kids have been playing well.
Been fun to watch. I think fans really appreciate this team too, from where they've come from. 2-1. Cecil Cooper said the Astros are capable of winning at least 90 games this year because of their offense.
I'll tell you what, they're also capable of losing far more than that because of their pitching. But I think they'll do okay.
Good pitch.
We were talking a little bit. The Cubs have to be favored, but as a baseball fan, you want to see everyone bunched up. You don't want to see anybody run away with it and have it be a very competitive division, and I think it will be.
Cecil Cooper was very aggressive last year with base running and starting runners and trying to generate offense.
And he had some speed. Michael Bourne, if he could get on base more, it'd be even more terrific, and a high success ratio when Bourne is stealing. But when you got a guy like Carlos Lee out there, kind of clogs it up right now.
They were one of the most aggressive teams as far as base stealing a year ago. They were caught a bunch too.
Yeah. If you're going to be 75% or higher, it makes sense. But when you're getting thrown out almost 45 to 50% of the time, you better be pick your spots.
Here's a 3-2 pitch, and it's taken for a ball. And Lee was off with that pitch. First and second now with one out. First walk issued by Pinheiro.
But there's an example right there what you're talking about. You start the runner on a 3-2 pitch, and Pinheiro is a ground ball pitcher, but you know that if it's a strike him out, it's going to be a double play with Molina's ability to throw out runners.
Astros' first 13 games are against the Central, Chicago, St. Louis. Then they'll play Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. They were 43-35 last year against the NL Central. This time last year it was J.R. Tolles who was their catcher, and then Ausmus was the backup. Ausmus then eventually would have a more prominent role, and there's a double play. Off the bat of Pudge Rodriguez, a liner, and nowhere for Plum to go. David Freese up first when we come back. Cardinals with an RBI from Chris Duncan. They lead it 1-0. Taking a game from some of Busch Stadium's most popular seats, the all-inclusive areas, and you'll get a great view of the game, plus all of your food and drinks included for one great price, and tickets are on sale at stlcardinals.com. Here's David Freese.
Those all-inclusive areas are really some of our favorite seats when we're not working a game, and they are probably the best opportunity to get good seats, really enjoy yourself for almost any game. But there are a lot of seats available. There's over 8,000 seats available for this Sunday when it's Ludbrok's bat day.
That's Steve Uline down there.
Yeah, I saw Steve Uline there, our former boss.
Here's David Freese, and Freese hits it on a few hops to second. Matsui there. David Freese was telling me before the game, interesting story. I didn't know this, but he played at Merrimack Community College here in St. Louis, and our next telecast will be Monday at 8 o'clock. Cardinals and Diamondbacks, the Valley of the Sun. But David Freese actually didn't play 2 years out of high school for Steve Uline. And what happened was, he said he was just sick of playing coming out of high school. And then in his second year, he decided that, and he went to Missouri. He went to the University of Missouri just as a student, didn't play any sports. As you get a look at Pinheiro, but then Freese said his second year, he got the itch to play again. 2 weeks before his sophomore year in at Missouri, he decided to go play at Merrimack. So He was trying to do some conditioning. He was playing basketball with friends and broke both his wrists. There's a little tapper hit to third. Pinheiro is out. And so Freese essentially had 2 years off before he started playing baseball again, and then he went to Merrimack for a couple of years. Tony DeToli is his head coach there in his first season. And then he went to play at South Alabama, finished up there, and now here with the St. Louis Cardinals. But isn't that interesting? 2 full years out of the game.
Sure. And he's still a relatively young man. You see Chris Carpenter there. About the matchup, it's not it's an assumption that Chris is going to face St. Louis and Max Scherzer next Tuesday.
That'll be fun. We saw Scherzer, who's from Missouri, University of Missouri, pitch against the Cardinals last year. 2 outs, nobody on. Schumacher looks at a ball. He singled and scored in the first. David Freese, I said, what's it been like this first week? Is your phone just ringing off the hook? He said it is right now, but he said I look at it as it's just been flattering for me to be here, to have the attention. You know, I'm hearing from people that I haven't heard from in years. McDonald and Kachuk, they have scored for the Blues, and it's 2-0. Here's a 1-2. And Skip taps it to first, and the Cardinals are done here in the second inning. 1-0 after 2. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Kia Motors. To learn more, visit kia.com. By Aflac, ask about it at work. And by the Casino Queen, home of the loosest slots in the country. Michael Bourne, top of this lineup for the Astros. Due up third, and Matsui.
And
Bourne, Hampton, and Matsui here.
As a pitcher, you got to really bear down on guys. You're always that first guy of an inning.
Long way to go for Duncan, and it's a foul ball.
But in the case of Michael Bourne, you really got to bear down on him and do not let him get on base. Gets on base, very good base stealer. Hampton very good at wielding the bat or advancing him, setting up a big inning. So it's always imperative to really concentrate hard on getting the first guy, but when you got a speed guy like Bourne, you got to really concentrate even more.
He says that he feels like he's a better bunter right now. Is Bourne, and Freese is way in over at 30. Broke his bat, so getting some new lumber. For much of the spring, Michael Bourne was their likely #2 hitter between Matsui and then Berkman, and then Pudge Rodriguez was signed. They slid him into the 2 spot, and tonight it's Hunter Pence in the 2 spot, and they drop Bourne down just to take a little pressure off of him and try to get him off to a good start.
Well, we talk about it. He's also, you know, he's a great base stealer, but he just doesn't have a high on base percentage. Doesn't walk much either.
Schumacher over to make the play. Handles it easily.
I met Skip's father yesterday. Had a long talk with him. We were talking about what a great kid Skip is, but you know, yes, you have to be your own biggest critic, but there are, you know, give yourself a little leeway. His dad was saying, you know, he wasn't looking forward to going to dinner with last night because he'd always talk about would be the missed double play.
Carpenter was fantastic last night for the Redbirds. Chance here for Freese. Could take his time with Hampton running. And there's 2 outs. Pinheiro, first time through this lineup, and just 1 hit allowed.
And economical with his pitch count. And that's real key. You know, a lot of times you look at Pinheiro and you say, can he get, you know, well into a ball game before he reaches his pitch limit? You know, one criticism could be like, you know, is he a 5-6 inning pitcher at best? And Dave's really trying to get these guys to pitch to contact like Carpenter did and keep your pitch count low.
2 outs, nobody on. Top of the lineup, Kaz Matsui, the switch hitter. And with the Mets, the Rockies, and now Houston. Every year it seems like Houston, the big question mark is with their starting rotation. For the longest time they had Biggio and Bagwell and obviously Berkman, now Lee. So the lineup has always been pretty good. Jeff Kent was mixed in there for a while. But can they pitch?
Well, and many people consider the Astros to have one of the leanest farm systems. You know, they always used to develop pitching, especially when the old Astrodome, because it was such a big, massive ballpark. Their pitching excelled, and you couldn't develop hitters, or hitters weren't going to hit for power there. Minute Maid's a little bit reversed, but you still have to have pitching.
They really feel that the guy going tonight might be the key to the rotation. That's Hampton. Made it through 2 months with the Braves last year, no setbacks. Enough to convince the Astros he could be a major contributor on this year's staff.
Well, that was the last 2 months, because remember, he had the oblique muscle strain that cost him the first part of the season.
That's pulled foul.
And Wandy Rodriguez, I think, had a pretty good outing his first time out.
Very good.
And a lot of people are kind of puzzled, and Oswald hasn't been himself yet. He hasn't found his curveball yet, but I don't worry about him.
Here's a liner, pass screen, almost came up with it. 2-out base hit for Matsui. In steps Hunter Pence.
Ball just diving and running away, and good piece of hitting, slapping it to the opposite field, and just by inches, Khalil Green misses that ball, which continued coming off the bat of the left-hander, slicing away from him.
Exmo Cam presented by Hot Shot Sports Bar and Grill. Here's Hunter Pence, grounded back to Pinheiro his first time up. Berkman on deck. Highest average active players. You figured Braun for Collins up there. How about Dimitri Young, Edwin Encarnacion as well, and Hunter Pence.
Remember Hunter Pence a couple years ago came up about midway through the season and just was, well, I guess the one year he was leading the league in hitting at the All-Star break. He's had good success against them. Last year, kind of a sophomore jinx a little bit. Unorthodox batter, but he's fun to watch.
He's got 36 hits against St. Louis. And on the hands, 0-2.
Good effective pitch there.
Pinheiro was much better at home than he was on the road last season, as he was 3-1 here at Busch Stadium and 4-6 on the road, with his ERA close to 6. Majority of his home runs allowed took place on the road, only 5 here at Busch. Berkman has had good success against Pinheiro. There you see the road and home split. Carlos Lee, a 400 hitter against Pinheiro. We're in the third, 1-0 Cardinals. Big year for Joel Pinheiro when you think about where his career is going.
Right. Second of his 2-year contract with the Cardinals. That's motivation in itself.
1-2 pitch.
I do like the way he is pitching more inside than we're accustomed to see him. Being more aggressive.
See if they want to start the runner here on 2-2. That's Matsui at first. Now we'll be off with the pitch.
Would have been a good pitch to run on.
Yep.
Slider that bounced up there. Nice stop by Molina. One of the things, from an 0-2 to now a running count 3-2. 2 outs. That's a big, big difference, you know, and as a pitcher, you want to avoid those running counts. Puts a lot more pressure on the defense.
And he got him. Strikes out Pence as he got him to chase. Green, Pujols, and Ludwig coming up. Bottom of the third rolls in, and it's 1-0 St. Louis. 2 hits aside. Houston and St. Louis. First of 3 this weekend here at Busch Stadium. This date in baseball history brought to you by Schnucks. The Colt 45s start their inaugural season. They played not in a dome stadium, outdoors.
Outdoors, actually, in the parking lot of the old Astrodome. The corner of that parking lot was they're building the 8th wonder of the world. So hot there, you know, 2 necessities was oxygen and a bottle of insect repellent.
How about the mosquitoes?
Well, the mosquitoes were so big that you needed that. You know, they kind of had that flood channel behind, their flood control channel behind, and so it was a natural breeding grounds, and those mosquitoes would pick anything up and take it away.
1 ball, 1 strike. Small children.
Pint of blood.
Yeah.
Drop in for a fill-up.
I remember talking to Joe Morgan about that. He said the bugs were just unbelievable at that stadium. That's the first thing he said about the Colt 45.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's the first thing that they told you before you go outside. Insect repellent.
Nice to visit with your buddy Tim McCarver on the pregame show.
Yeah, Timmy and Joe Buck will have the call tomorrow afternoon. What a pitching matchup that is.
Should be a good one.
Wainwright against Oswalt.
Here's a 2-1 pitch. Oswalt pitched in the World Baseball Classic for Team USA. There's so much money tied up in these players that. And Green is hit by that pitch on a cool night. And I think management is happy when they hear the player say, I'm just going to step away and worry about spring training and try to get myself in the best possible shape I can.
Well, Albert desperately wanted to play for the Dominican Republic team, but because he had the off-season elbow surgery, they couldn't get insurance for him, so chose not to play, and the Cardinals were very thankful. Really, the Cardinals were very fortunate that really Molina was the only player on the big league roster that went and played, and Tony that was fine. You know, Oquendo will take care of him. He and Pudge will handle that very well. What was it? The Mets had 15 players. Now, how do you go through a spring training when you're missing 15 of your players?
I guess if you look at a positive, you're saying, all right, we got to look at our young guys, you know, that would have more of a chance to play at the big league level in spring training. But certainly when you're talking, you know, thinking about the health of your team, your everyday team, you want those guys in spring training. Well,
and that's what everybody fears, is particularly with the pitchers, that they are rushed, and no matter what you do before, but they are rushed into a very highly competitive situation when their arms really are not sound or strong enough.
3-0 on Pujols. So Tony wasn't bashful about letting some of these sluggers swing with 3 balls and no strikes against Pittsburgh.
Tony is very good in not taking the bat out of players' hands. The only thing he asks in return is, show me that you're selective with your pitch selection. If it's a strike, let it rip. If it's a ball, or if it's a strike in an area you're not looking for.
And he walked him. So a hit batsman and now the walk. And it brings in Ludwig.
It's already the 3rd walk and a hit batsman tonight for Mike Hampton.
Standing over at first, Pujols and Berkman, those two, the highest career on-base percentage of active players with the exception of Todd Helton. You see the line thus far for Hampton. 2 great hitters right there, Pujols and Lance Berkman.
Well, Lance has been in the league for 10 years, Albert 8. And You know, Lance Berkman, just an awesome hitter in his own right. You see with on-base percentage, this is through their careers. Albert second, Berkman third, to Todd Helton.
And a ground ball pulled foul. Ryan Ludwig's breakout season last year had power against both righties and lefties. Really no difference. He had 15 home runs against the lefties and 22 against the righties.
I remember early in the season last year, he was in a platoon only playing against the left-handed starters. And actually, he was hitting higher against the right-handed pitchers.
Here's the 0-1 pitch to Ludwig. Lines it into right center field. That will get down. Green being waved in. Pujols right on his heels. And he will score to make it 2-0. Ludwig with the double, the RBI, his third on the year.
Another similarities between these two offenses is they have Berkman and they have Pujols. But both of them have a good secondary hitter in Carlos Lee and Ryan Ludwig. Albert had a real good read on this. You can see the hands and the inside out swing. Pulls those hands in, drives the ball out there, and look at where you see Leo Green had to hold up a little bit where Albert got a good read on it. And at one point he was about 10 steps behind Khalil Green as he coasted into third. Well, Green was about halfway to home plate.
Exmo cam there, brought to you by Hot Shots. And now it's Duncan picked up the first RBI in this game back in the first inning.
At the very least, pull the ball to the right side or hit a sacrifice fly.
Third baseman is playing just about even with the bag. And Berkman in a few steps over at first. Outfield is straight away. Bourne really plays a shallow center field. Reminiscent of Edmonds.
That's good if you can go back and get them.
Yep.
And a little easier without Tal's Hill.
Hard to believe this is the 10th year for Minute Maid Park. 10 seasons already.
How was it 3 years ago tonight? They opened up this Busch Stadium. Mark Mulder got the win. He hit a home run in that game too.
Yes, he did. Duncan with a fly ball, shallow center. Bourne makes the catch and Pujols draws the throw.
Not a strong throw, but he's so shallow. You talked about how shallow he is to begin with, and then he came in and
went right over the head of Ludwig.
He almost drilled Ludwig. Well, I got to tell you a story that just this reminds me of. You see that Ludwig? What? But Jose Cruz, Astros first base coach, was playing right field, and Tim McCarver is playing first base in a game at the old Busch Stadium, and a base hit out to right field, and Timmy just turned around to watch the play at the plate, and the ball drilled him in the back.
Maybe I should have brought that up on the interview.
You should. I just thought about that, and Timmy's expression and what he said with his Memphis drawl was priceless. Not arable, but priceless.
Former teammate of yours.
Oh yeah.
Are you shocked to see him in television and doing all these World Series? I mean, do you envision that when you're playing with him? That this can be a guy that's going to get into broadcasting? You know, with Euchre, they said he used to do play-by-play out there.
Well, Timmy was playing.
And Euchre was on the sidelines, is what you're saying. Infield drawn in with one out. For Molina. Walked his first time up. Back to Hampton.
Ooh.
And Pujols will come to the plate and scores.
Wow. Another aspect to Albert Pujols. The instincts and the feel for the game as Mike Hampton gets the ball. Remember we talked about he's a Gold Glove fielder, but he just gooses the ball over to first base, and watch Albert Pujols. Sees there, he gets checked, but then he takes the high lob throw, and Pujols takes advantage of Berkman right on top of it, but he rushes his throw. He would have been out. one way to get an RBI for your buddy.
There's a broken bat. Bergman had to hesitate in covering Hampton over at first. And Keel now 0 for 2. Cardinals lead it 3-0. Go green with the Cardinals on Earth Day, Wednesday, April 22nd. With the purchase of your discounted ticket, you'll receive an organic t-shirt and admission to the St. Louis Cardinals Earth Day Expo. For tickets to this event, visit stlcardinals.com. You talked about it earlier. Pinheiro can really field his position. Nice play. Let's go back to the slide of Albert Pujols to make this 3-0.
Well, Albert never fails to amaze you, and now he is so heads up. See him going here sliding. Rodriguez couldn't hold on to the ball or he would have been out, but just taking advantage of a little mental mistake by Hampton.
That was the Exmo Cam, brought to you by Hot Shots Sports Bar and Grill, with a location 1 block south of the ballpark. Here's Pinheiro. And a strike at the knees to Carlos Lee. Carlos Lee with 6 consecutive seasons with 90-plus RBIs. Just a pure hitter, isn't he?
And it would have been another 100 RBI season without his injury.
And he missed considerable time and still had 90-plus RBIs. Albert Pujols, if you're wondering, with 8 consecutive seasons doing that, and the active leader is Alex Rodriguez with 11. Also Bobby Abreu on that list, and Aramis Ramirez. Abreu now in Anaheim. Ramirez, of course, with Chicago. So Lee broke his bat, gets a new piece of lumber, and a count of no balls and 2 strikes.
Jason Marquis, the former Cardinal, wins over Cole Hamels today.
And the Phillies off to a little bit of a slow start. Minnesota leading Nashville. That's a key for the Blues. Nashville needs to lose that game. That's in the 2nd period. And the Blues lead their game 2-0. Cardinals lead here 3-0. You saw that Carlos Lee was working on the knob of the bat. That's where he holds it. He's one of those guys that will actually hold the pinky finger on that knob of the bat. He picks up his 2nd base hit on a 2-2 pitch.
William Green really in the hole as that ball hit up more up the middle. First base hit was to right. This one more to center.
Here's Tejada, fly to right. 0 for 1. Tejada with no RBI so far. But already in 3+ games now with 5 base hits.
He's hit in all 3 games prior to tonight. He was 5 for 11, now 5 for 12.
Ouch.
See how big Albert is, and then you see how Carlos Lee kind of dwarfs him a little bit. Don't see it so much from that angle, but you have to trust us.
Outfield is straight away for Tejada. 2nd season in that Astro uniform.
Pound that sinker right back in there and say,
sure,
go ahead and foul it off your foot again.
Danny Graves was a non-roster invitee for Houston, former Cincinnati closer. Tejada came over from Baltimore. 2 pitchers and an infielder. Luke Scott was part of that deal.
Duncan extremely deep out and left.
Tejada, 5-time All-Star, looks at a pitch up and in. 3 balls and 1 strike.
Former American League MVP.
Nicknamed Miggy. So he grew up in extreme poverty in the Dominican Republic with 12 siblings. The 3-1 pitch. Freese backs up, goes to second, out there, on to first, double play.
Perfect lead for Schumacher.
Skip with that strong arm completes the double play. 3-0 Redbirds. Bottom of the 4th rolls in. The Cardinals have a 3-run lead. Let's go back to the double play. Started by David Freese, and a very nice lead, as you mentioned, Al, to Schumacher.
Well, he didn't know if he was going to come in and get a short hop, so he backs up, and then he leads him. You know, the toughest thing for Schumacher is getting that ball, receiving at second base with the runner bearing down on him. But the way that Freese threw the ball, it was easy for him to get his momentum behind it, vacate the bag, and complete the double play.
First pitch to David Freese. He grounded out to second, first time up. 2 for 7 so far. The young season, couple of RBIs. 3 hits aside and a 3-run lead. Mike Hampton, pitch number 60 coming. Mentioned I visited with Tony DeToli, the Merrimack baseball coach, today, and talking about David Freese. He said immediately when he got to the program, he said you just tell when guys have an electric bat. He said the ball just jumped off his bat, and then that's what we heard about Freese down in the minor leagues.
He's used that same reference describing Freese here at the big league level.
1-2 the count. Freese here, and then Pinheiro and Schumacher.
Came over the Jim Edmonds trade. He never played higher than A-ball. The Cardinals pushed him to AAA last year and had an outstanding season.
2-2.
Arguably, he could have been the minor league player of the year.
Sure.
With his 290-plus average, 26 home runs, 90-plus RBIs.
Hey, you really thought he might have gotten a call-up in September as well. 2-2 pitch. Held up, full count.
Old veteran Pudge Rodriguez, after he retrieved the ball off the backstop, then asked for the umpire to say, hey, appeal. And I got the ball in my hand, appealed to see if he swung on it. Strike 3.
Here's a 3-2 pitch. David, a couple hours away from a degree in sports management.
And what does that get you?
We'll have to find out in the next episode of Cardinals baseball. Sports management. Well, there's a lot of different ways you can go with that.
I know.
See what he wants to do with it. Joe Thurston, by the way, is represented by a guy that used to work here in the local media, Lou Tevlin, his agent. Lou Tevlin used to work at Channel 2. He was the media side of the business, then started working in the sports agency side, and Joe Thurston has him as his agent. Three and 2 the count on David Freese. Just got a piece. Cold night and a good crowd here at Busch Stadium. Colder here probably than over at Scottrade. The 3-2 pitch to Freese. Right down the middle. Call third strike. And that's the third strikeout for Mike Hampton. Cardinals crew in our season debut with Andy Bennis and Fred Bird and John Hewlett tomorrow at 11:30 on Fox Sports Midwest. So Cardinals crew makes its season debut tomorrow. Here's Pinheiro, grounded out to third. One out, nobody on. Mike Hampton working in his fourth inning. The Cardinals with a 3-run lead.
Even innings on the evening have been fairly efficient for Hampton. The odd innings have been a struggle.
Here's a 1-1 pitch. Popped up over the Cardinal dugout and out of play. If healthy, you have to really like the rotation that the Cardinals have put together, especially with what you saw from Carpenter yesterday afternoon.
Absolutely. You know, Carpenter and Wainwright, you felt like, you know, they were two co-aces. And you get Loesch, who had the breakthrough season last year.
Called third strike on the outside corner. No argument from Pinheiro. He just wants that call when he's on the mound.
Yeah, Wainwright did, Wellemeyer didn't have a good outing, but you know he'll learn from it, get a little more comfortable next time out. But I just think the presence of having Carpenter on a daily basis to talk with the starters, to talk with the hitters, or just be a good teammate, which he is going to help this club in many, many ways.
Here's Skip Schumacher, and he looks at a fastball and a strike. Saw the arm strength of Schumacher on that turn at the double play, and that certainly is a positive about him playing there defensively. One of the better arms on the team. Breaking ball lined into the seats, 0-2. Schumacher tonight singled and scored, and also grounded out to first. 1 for 2. Lewis Kurtz is enjoying baseball here tonight at the ballpark. Up the middle, backhanded by Matsui, and safe. Schumacher. Base hit for Skip, his second. Good to see him doing this, Al, against a lefty.
Yeah, it really is. He's got 2 infield hits here today. And at good speed, step closer from the left side, just slap it down on the ball. Matsui tries to make a tough play. It's a bang-bang play. It's an optical illusion, but when you dive head first, you don't really get there quicker, but it appears that you do. Otherwise, you see every track star diving for the tape.
Second hit for Skip, and here's Khalil Green. Green was hit by a pitch last time up, came around to score. At the knees for strike 1. So 2-out infield hit for Schumacher, his second of the night. Here's the Cardinal shortstop. With Pujols on deck, you'd love to see him come up with a chance to do some damage.
So we'd like to see Khalil Green use all the field. Sometimes he'll get into a pattern where he'll pull a lot of balls. And defensively, they set up that way in the infield. But if he can shoot some balls to right, he's got a lot of base hits out there.
2-1.
Hampton at times doesn't make it easy on the right-handers because still with less stuff than what he used to have, he still can pitch inside effectively.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Remember, Mike Hampton went to Colorado, All-Star his first year, and then the wheels came off. But he's not the first to have that happen to him in Denver.
His first start, he shut out the Cardinals in Denver.
Here's a 2-2 to Khalil Green. Schumacher off with his next pitch.
Berkman will play behind. He knows the runner's going to go, so get a better defensive position. You can still keep Schumacher in check where he can't get a huge jump.
We'll do it again.
Hitting in front of Albert Pujols, some way, get on. Particularly 2 outs, extend an inning. Bring up Albert with more than 1 runner on base.
We've seen that Tony is going to use multiple lineups this year. And Khalil Green has already batted 4th. He did that on opening day. He's batted 2nd. He's been in the 6th spot. And he missed. So the infield hit, a walk to Green, and it brings up Albert.
Fourth walk to go along with 4 strikeouts.
See the pitch count at 81 for Mike Hampton already. Pujols has walked and scored back in the 3rd on a terrific running play. It's the 3rd run of the game. That's where we stand right now. He's also flied out to shallow center. 2 runners on. First pitch to Albert. Hits a rope to 3rd, and Blum will go to 2nd for the force. So we played 4 here at Busch Stadium. 3-0 Cardinals. Saw that play there by Pujols. Welcome back. It's 3-0 here in the 5th inning. And now not only is it a heads-up play, but he's doing it against Mike Hampton, a guy that is noted for his very good glove.
Well, but he took advantage of something. You know, his glove was fine. It was the thought process behind his throw to first base.
And Blum picks up a base hit. He's on board for the 2nd time with a walk and now a single. And it brings in Pudge Rodriguez. Well, it's all about the kids this weekend at Busch Stadium. Sunday afternoon, the Cardinals and Astros at 1:15. Kids 15 and under get the Rawlings Brian Ludwig bat. Free ticket to another April or May game. Hot dog, soda. You run the bases after the game, and free ice cream in the Ford Plaza. All coming up Sunday Kids Day here at Busch.
That's better. 8,000 tickets left for this Sunday's game in all areas of the ballpark.
Pudge Rodriguez lined into a double play, his first time up. At first and second, line to Pujols, who then stepped on the bag. First pitch at the knees, and Rodriguez didn't like it. Remarkable career for Pudge. Strike 2.
Just thinking about it, you said 18 consecutive opening days for Pudge Rodriguez and playing the demanding position of back behind the plate.
That's the thing that really stands out to me. And he did it a number of years, one of the hottest ballparks to play in Texas. Here's a double play ball. Skip again, his 2nd opportunity. Throws a strike to Albert. That's what they say is arguably the toughest play for Schumacher will be the turns on these double plays.
Well, and you know, the same token, not only is it tough, but look at how close that Blum gets to him, barreling down on top of him. That's a new experience, and he might have to work on his high jump. But he got enough of him, and you know, got up high enough to get there. It's just confidence. The more he plays there, the more confidence he'll have.
You know, like the ground balls that you're seeing that Piñeiro's been able to get here tonight. Name of the game is pitching, isn't it, partner?
You know, we were talking about Wellemeyer and how Dave Duncan worked with him has really got him to utilize his sinker, and the same thing with Loesch. The difference went, but it's perfect for Pinheiro. I mean, he has a real good sinking fastball too. And the only question that I've always had with him is you have to watch him how deep he goes into games. But it's great to go 5 good innings, but what separates you from being a real solid starter is that ability to go 6 innings or more.
The 2-2 pitch. Another ground ball. Schumacher there. Gets the speedy Bourne. A look at the double play again in the turn of Schumacher. The Cardinals with 3 double plays tonight. Midway through 5. Take a look at tonight's Aflac Trivia question. Who has the highest batting average for the Astros against the Cardinals? Minimum 100 games. Aflac! That would have been my guess. Bagwell is part of their opening day festivities against Chicago the other day.
It's tough when you Bagwell retired, not seeing him in uniform, and then now with Bagwell and Biggio not in uniform, just really a difference. Still got a third of the Killer Bees, Berkman, but I've always thought it's one of the classier locker rooms that we visit is the Houston Astros.
Ludwig with a double tonight, 1 for 1. Mention now when Tony La Russa got here back in 1996. Houston and St. Louis. His time here, and of course you think about not only what they do in the Central Division, but also those great games in the playoffs between the Cardinals and the Astros, and they had their top 10 plays of Minute Maid Park. Number 1 was Jeff Kent's walk-off home run. That was in the playoffs. That put them up 3-2, and then the Cardinals came back and won the final 2.
Well, Hampton got Ludwig that time, but Ryan did extend his hitting streak to 15 games with his double and RBI earlier back in the 3rd. How about that score? Still looks good. It's 2-1 now, with the Blues still leading.
Here's Duncan, 1 for 2. Swung on and missed. How much longer can they go with Mike Hampton here tonight?
It's probably, oh, now it's 3-1 Blues.
Right down the middle. That's a strike, 1-2. Kachuk, by the way, with 2 goals for the Blues.
Oh, good. Hampton's the first scheduled hitter, and that pitch count is at 90 now, so you probably think the first start of the year that you're pushing him a little bit if he gets through this inning.
And a called 3rd strike on Duncan. It's now 5 on the night for Mike Hampton. Yadier has walked and also has an RBI with a little help from Pujols. Outstanding running play by Albert, who was at 3rd on a ball that was hit back to Mike Hampton. He just lobbed it over to 1st, and then Pujols came in to score. Yadier jumps on the pitch, but that carries to center, and we played 5 here at Busch Stadium. Redbirds on top, 3-0.
Hey, what's on tap? Brought to you by Bud Light. The difference is drinkability, and it's tomorrow afternoon Big Fox will be in town as Joe Buck and Jim McCarver will bring you Cardinal baseball as the Cardinals will take on the Astros tomorrow. And then on Sunday at 1 p.m. it'll be KSD with their first telecast of the year, Channel 5, Ricky Horton and Jay Randolph. And that'll be brought to you by Bud Light too. So Piñeiro's gone 5 shutout innings, only allowed 4 hits, same as Hampton, but the Cardinals have scored 3 runs. And Hampton is being pinch hit for. This is Jason Smith. So Mike works the first 5 innings, and now Smith, who had his contract purchased from Round Rock earlier this week, he had .355 in spring training. Takes a strike.
4 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned runs, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts, and 10 doubles.
5
5 innings, 4 hits, 3 earned runs.
swing and a miss, and Molina picks it up and fires down to first base for the first out. So Hampton goes the first 5. He gives up 4 hits, 3 runs, all of them earned, 4 walks, a hit batter, and 5 strikeouts. But Piñeiro has been out there very efficient. He's thrown 70 pitches in his 5 1/3 innings. And as I said, this is a test to see if he can go deeper into a ball game. Good side after a very good spring training in Florida. Piñeiro went 7 innings against Memphis last Sunday. So if he can go through this inning, maybe even get into 7th inning, you got something, Dan.
And now it's Matsui, top of the lineup, and he's 1 for 2 tonight. And Joel has looked very, very good tonight. If he's technically your number 5 pitching like this, you get a pretty good rotation.
Well, that's it. I think they feel that the other 4 were very solid.
Green has to be quick. He is out. The naked eye tells me he was safe, but the umpire's right there. He's got perfect position, and Green, what a terrific play.
That's Jerry Crawford. Once again, he has to circle to get a little momentum behind the throw. Threw off balance, had a high arc, but Albert can stay on the bag, reach up, and haul in the high throw. And we won't tell you what that replay just tells you, because your naked eye was very good. But Jerry Crawford disagreed with you.
Here's Hunter Pence, and I'm happy that he did.
And we like the fact that he did.
Remember, it was Jerry Crawford behind the plate when we were in Houston.
That's right.
When Mike Matheny was still catching for the Cardinals, and Jerry's hands were on the back of Matheny, and certainly the Cardinals staff was not happy one bit. There's Green again, no chance.
Well, you know, and going back to that incident, there's a lot of catchers, you know, will tell you that, yeah, some of the techniques of some, you know, umpires is they'll rest their hand on your back. And they say that doesn't bother you. But what was happening that night was Jerry Crawford actually was pushing Mike Matheny. Now, that would definitely have to be a little bit uncomfortable. And, you know, there's no better class act than Mike Matheny, and he objected to it. And for some reason, Jerry Crawford thought that that was, you know, inexcusable. Somebody, you know, objecting to you know, that I can't push you down on certain pitches.
The whole thing was odd.
It was.
So when it was brought to our, I mean, in the normal course of a game, you're not anticipating that. You don't even really watch for it. And then you got wind of it, and you took a look at some of the replays. It was unbelievable. 1 ball, 1 strike on Berkman.
Go back to my days of playing, that Jerry Crawford's father was a senior umpire in the National League.
And his brother is an official in the NBA.
Who made some headlines a few years back.
One of the things about this rivalry that stands out with the Cardinals and the Astros, good people, you know, good guys, and this is one of them at the plate in Berkman.
Yeah, we always talk about the Cardinal Cub and what a great rivalry that is, but it's fun for the fans. But you know, you get into the, you know, the players. Sometimes there's some true dislikes.
That is smoked out to right center field. Pence from first will be waved in. Berkman has an RBI double. Ball just jumps off his bat. Cuts a lead to 3-1. Now the tying run comes to the plate.
Very quickly, like you said, the tying run comes to plate. 2 outs in the 5th, then all of a sudden back-to-back base hits. Remember, Matsui, it appeared that he was safe, so easily it could be already tied, but Hunter Pence runs well enough. That ball got down between the gaps in center and right, and he comes around from first to score. And Berkman out there in scoring position with the nemesis Carlos Lee, who's already 2 for 2 against Pinheiro.
And
first base is open.
Now. Start the season off right this Saturday at Busch Stadium. Cardinals baseball cap courtesy of Ice Mountain Kids Cap. When you say that and you look at first base open here, and I'm sure that's something that Dave Duncan is saying, look, this guy's got your number. On deck you've got Tejada. Who do you feel more comfortable with? Even though you would bring that potential go-ahead run to the plate.
You may sit there and say, okay, look at this is how we want to pitch him here, but you're going to go inside, change of pattern maybe a little bit. Just a reminder, the first base open, so if you do fall behind, or it's not the worst thing if you end up walking him, but if you walk him, make sure you know you can get the next hitter out.
Jammed him. Good pitch. Freeze. Has time and throws a strike over to Pujols. RBI for Berkman. His second on the year. And it's 3-1. Cardinal fans, when it comes to tickets, you deserve Major League service, so go online to StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Cardinals, and the only site with Fan Protect guarantee. Here's Jeff Geary, new pitcher for Houston on a cold night here at Busch. Geary was picked up from the Phillies with Michael Bourne, the Brad Lidge deal. The deal that really has worked out well for the Phillies. Boy, he's been just, well, he's been perfect.
It's worked out for both of them, and Geary is a very good setup man. His second season, first 5 are with Philadelphia. His second season in Houston, he had a career best 2.50 ERA last season, and he owned a 1.19 ERA in 29 road outings.
Really good against the right-handed hitters. They only hit 182 against him. All hitters just 197. Here's Rick Ankiel.
They really reworked the Astros bullpen last year, and it became a strength. But Lidge needed a change of scenery, and boy, it worked out for Philadelphia.
1 ball, 1 strike. Rick tonight is 0 for 2.
I think he's happy that the left-handed starter Hampton is out of there, but Geary's no picnic either.
Hampton strikes out 5 tonight, gives up the 3 runs. And there's a line shot into the seats. We've got Valverde, Hawkins, Brocail, Geary, and Sampson. Right side of their bullpen for Cecil Cooper. Wright and Burdack are the 2 lefties.
Very few people remember that Cecil Cooper was a Rule 5 selection of the Cardinals back in, I believe, 1971. That they're returning back to Boston. Cardinals knew that he was going to be an outstanding player, but trying to have a competitive team, it's hard to keep a Rule 5 pick, especially back then.
2-2 the count. Check swing and did not go.
If memory serves me right, it was in fact one of the reasons why it was a choice between Cecil Cooper or Tim McCarver. Timmy's going to win that out with talking with Gibson and Torrey and Brock and all the veteran players.
And Keel rips it foul again. 3-2 pitch to Rick Ankiel. Here it comes. Takes ball 4. Leadoff walk. So back in the third with Mike Hampton. Ran into trouble when he hit a man, Green, then walked Pujols, and those two came around to score.
5th walk and a hit batsman tonight for Cardinal hitters.
Downtown St. Louis and a chilly night here at Busch Stadium. 3-1 Cardinals. Joel Pinheiro pitching for St. Louis and pitching quite well. The Cardinals have knocked out Mike Hampton. Here's David Freese. Freese 0 for 2. Ground out and a strikeout. Takes a pitch a little low. Going to see significant playing time over at third with Troy Gloss unavailable till early June probably.
It's my understanding he won't even be evaluated until June 1st. Next time they're really checking, so almost have to assume he'll miss the entire first half.
Geary is 32 years of age. Out of California, his 5th major league season as far as service time. Pitched at the University of Oklahoma. David Freese, pretty well hit. Opposite way to the wall, and it's caught.
Cool night. This is a bigger ballpark.
Pitcher Pinheiro. Joel was called out on strikes and also grounded out to third. Sacrifice situation here. 1 down, runner at first. Good speed with Ankiel.
Foul ball.
Pinheiro and his countryman back there. Rodriguez.
Say the same with Oquendo.
3 sacks last season for Pinheiro. Outfield very, very shallow in this situation. A huge gap in left center. And he bunts it in the air. Pudge is there for out number 2. So Rodriguez puts it away. 2 down.
Now 3 bunts. Starts out right with holding the barrel higher than the handle, but then you see kind of, instead of letting the ball come to him, and just look at the replay, he knows that it's his fault. Instead of letting the ball come to him, catching the ball with the bat, he started pushing at it, and then you have a tendency to drop the barrel and pop it up.
Schumacher with a pair of hits, now with his 3rd. That's in the gap. Ankiel on his way to 3rd. He'll be waved in and he'll score. 4-1 Cardinals on the RBI double with 2 outs from Skip Schumacher.
First RBI for Skip of the year and his 3rd hit of the game today. But slicing that ball, going to slice away from center fielder Michael Bourne, the speedy runner, and Ankiel shows his good speed, scoring all the way from first. Looks at it right there. He went by second base, made that determination. He knew that he'd be given the green light to come on home. And that is a big run, 4th run.
Here's Green and then Pujols if he can reach. Schumacher 3-hit night. Last time, Green came up with 2 outs and walked to bring up Pujols, and then hit a bullet to third to end the inning. First pitch to Green at the knees. He's made a couple of nice defensive plays here tonight.
Up the middle, they've been tough, as Schumacher's made some nice plays there and having his best offensive game of the year.
Nothing in 2.
Tied him up inside.
Leo's been on base twice. Walked, hit by a pitch, and scored. First time up, he struck out. Here's the 0-2. Wasted outside, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Pujols lurking.
Studying. And lurking.
On a hop to second. Skip Schumacher with a 3-hit night. RBI double. 4-1 Cardinals. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Pinheiro working here in the 7th. Here's Miguel Tejada.
Sounds good, doesn't it?
Sure does. And the first pitch is a strike. A lot of first pitch strikes tonight. That makes a big difference.
It really helps. I mean, it's nothing new. It's an old baseball cliche, but it's so true.
0-1 pitch. Tejada chops it foul. It's a lot of work for our television folks, men and women on our crew, both baseball and hockey. 2 feeds over at Scott Trade Center and 2 right here with the Astros and Cardinals. We appreciate all the work that they do. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
I'll keep a close eye on Pinheiro. He's only thrown 84 pitches, but this is where you kind of watch him from this point, and Josh Kinney is throwing in the Cardinal bullpen.
Tejada goes down to pop it up. Pujols is there. Their territory, makes the catch. And the first man retired for Joel Pinheiro. Brings in Jeff Blum. Blum with a walk and a single.
Blum was a good all-around player, playing numerous positions, but they got rid of Ty Wingington. He's going to get a lot of time at third.
Little squibber and a fair ball off the end of the bat for Blum, who has walked, singled, and now doubled. That is positioned perfectly. A little cue shot.
David Freese playing at third base was off the line, and that ball just went right over the bag into foul territory. Look at the spin on that rotation on that ball, and just tell you how much English. Chalk up that pool cue. And Molina alertly will come out, slow things down, and say, hey, that was just a freak thing. Just go ahead with your attack mode, and Rodriguez won't get a chance to hit into a double play unless it's a line out.
Cardinals have turned 3 double plays.
2 of them off the bat of Rodriguez. The first one was a line out. The last one was 6-4-3.
Runner at second. Big gap in left center for Pudge Rodriguez. 1 out. Swing at the first pitch. You can see he's not happy with himself one bit. Chase the ball.
That's you know, I always thought when you get around 80-some pitches with Pinheiro, you got to keep a close eye on him. There was a hanger right there. That's why Pudge's reaction, because he knew he missed his pitch. Another reason why, you know, throwing first pitch strikes so many times, even if you throw a bad pitch, that hitter isn't ready for it or can't put it in play.
Broken bat. Pinheiro looks back the runner to second, makes the play. It's a shattered bat.
That was a real good pitch right there. And
first pitch strikes at 16 of 25 that he's faced.
Makes a big difference. Not pitching behind in the count.
And now it's Michael Bourne. His good speed. 4-1 Cardinals here in the top of the 7th. First pitch in there for a strike.
Good breaking ball there. First pitch, get ahead strike.
Twice Bourne has grounded out to Schumacher at second. Slaps that foul in the hole now, 0-2.
Slow breaking ball, gets ahead, then he throws a fastball, or just it might have been even a changeup, but it had that good, you know, good arm speed, and almost snuck it by him. All he could do is stick it out and hit it to the opposite field.
The Cardinals were very impressed with Pinheiro as he came into camp in great shape. It's carried over now to his first start. Missed his location there.
Molina set up inside. The ball was up out over the plate, but
he hasn't done that very often.
Fouled it back.
That's right.
You worry and you watch the ball getting elevated. Because, you know, he's been on today because he's been getting the ground balls.
Check swing. Did he go? No. Held up on the breaking ball.
But a good pitch.
1-2.
Albert this inning caught the pop-up in shallow right field, but there's only been one other fly ball to the outfield tonight.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
Indication of Pinheiro really attacking the hitters, keeping the ball down. Hit the ball on the ground.
Pujols due up first for the Cardinals in the bottom of the 7th. What could be the final inning of work here for Pinheiro. 2-2.
Brocail warming up in case they get to the pitcher's spot, which is on deck. There's Josh Kinney. Josh is going to kind of simulate that Russ Springer role of being the guy to get out of an inning. Very important role that Russ did an excellent job at.
Good at bat here by Bourne. He's fought off some good pitches.
Sure has. And not that there's a likelihood this would be Pinheiro's last batter, but Bourne, whether he's successful or not, is making it a good at bat.
Crowd at 37,224 on a cold night here in St. Louis. 2-2 on Bourne. Time called. And we wait. Bourne back in there. 241 to hitter in this spot. 2-2 pitch. Slaps it the other way, base hit. Duncan over to get it. They'll hold up the runner at third. Nice play by Duncan to go over and get it, and a nice throw to the plate.
Duncan will charges hard, goes out and gets this good piece of hitting. The ball got up a little bit, slices it away here. Duncan gets over, gets the ball back in quickly, and they hold the runner. So Erstad, as you see the throw home, Dave Clark with the decision to just let Blum advance to third and no more. But he's a little surprised that he was held up. And Erstad, very good, excellent bench player. And it looks like Pinero's night through, but a very good start for Pinero if the bullpen can protect this lead.
Good job by Joel Pinero in his first start. Josh Kenny coming in our Chevrolet call to the bullpen. Four to 1, St. Louis leads Houston. 8 hits for the Astros against Pinero, and now it's up to the bullpen. Rip Rowan's lovely wife taking this in. Josh Kenny last year, his numbers outstanding. 7 games, no runs allowed. And opponents only hit 125 against him. He's got that really good slider.
Well, and that's after missing exactly 300 games from 2007 through 2008 following Tommy John surgery. Only allowed 1 earned run in 12 spring training appearances. And remember, he's signed out of an independent Frontier League. Erstad, terrific athlete. Very good all-around player. Matter of fact, the only player in Major League history to win a Gold Glove as an infielder and as an outfielder. A couple of them in the outfield, one at first base, and he hit .343 with runners in scoring position last year.
1 out double by Blum. He advanced to third after a base hit. And now you have Darren Erstad. He represents the tying run here in the 7th. 4-1 Cardinals. There's that slider taken a little bit low. Erstad, now 34 years of age. 2-time All-Star back in '98 and 2000 when he was with Anaheim.
Also has a national championship in football.
Nebraska. He was the punter. He has had some great years when you look at his career numbers. Back in 2000, first player in the history of the major leagues to record 100 RBIs as a leadoff hitter. Nomar had 98 back in '97, but 100 for Erstad. It's at the knees, a little bit low, 2 balls and no strikes.
It's so important if you're a reliever coming out of the bullpen to retire the first hitter you face. Josh, his second appearance on the year, did retire the first hitter, and he's going to be the guy to call on that many times will be coming in to finish off an inning. And most of the time, if he gets the first guy out, he'll do his job, keep the lead.
3-0. Matsui on deck. Josh Kenny trying to take us into the bottom of the 7th. 3-0 on Erstad. Kenny's trying to figure out the strike zone. A couple of those pitches
all around it.
Yeah. So bases loaded for Matsui. Matsui with a base hit tonight back in the 3rd. He's 1 for 3. He's twice grounded out to short.
Nobody warming up for the Cardinals. That's the faith they have in Josh Kenny.
So bases loaded for Houston.
So he is a switch hitter. Berkman, switch hitter. Blum, a switch hitter.
That pitch in the dirt.
And we saw Pittsburgh where they were so heavily left-handed hitting. And this is more of a right-handed hitting club, the Astros, with the 3 switch hitters. Call the bullpen, get another righty up.
2-0.
There's a Trevor Miller.
Crowd a little bit restless now. Out to visit Dave Duncan.
6 straight balls as Trevor Miller gets up.
A couple of those pitches to Erstad were very, very close. So Miller getting loose in the Cardinal pen.
Former Astro.
And Suey may take a strike, if not 2. Bases loaded. 3-0.
That's 7 straight balls, but several of them, and we can't, hard for us to judge a height, have been very close.
And there's a strike. And he walked him. 4-2. Base hit could tie it up. So back-to-back walks by Kenny. Blum scores to cut the lead in half. Brings in Hunter Pence, who singled up the middle his first time, or rather last time up. He's grounded out and also struck out.
Well, the key at bat is right here, and it's a guy that can hit a gapper or one out of the ballpark.
Good pitch.
Slider there. The reason they got Miller up is because Lance Berkman, the on-deck hitter, is a switch hitter, but obviously much stronger from the left side of the plate than Berkman is from the right.
2 outs, bases loaded. And an 0-1 pitch from Kenny.
A little bit low. Give these hitters credit, they're not expanding their zone. Not going after these close pitches that are just off the plate.
Strike 2.
Josh did a great job of setting up Wainwright in the postseason and down the stretch in 06. Tremendous job in the World Series. Then he goes to spring training in 07, has a Tommy John surgery, misses all that year, and part of his rehab, he fractures his elbow. He missed 300 games before he made the 7 September relief appearances and pitched extremely well, and it had a great spring.
37,000. They come alive. Got it. Time to stretch. It's 4-2. Let's go back to the at-bat by Hunter Pence, which ended the top of the 7th. To keep this 4-2. Pitch by pitch brought to you by Chevrolet.
Well, Pence, a 300 hitter against the Cardinals. There's a slider. He gets ahead for strike 1. Another one, a little bit low, evens the count 1-1. And he gets a fastball. He tops it off. Another slider gets me swing and miss to finish the inning. Couple walks in there, but finally got that swing and miss slider.
Here's Pujols. Albert tonight has walked and scored. Was back in the 3rd. Cardinals with a run in the 1st and 2 more in the 3rd and another in the 6th, and they lead it 4-2. Fox Saturday Baseball tomorrow. Then Jay Randolph and Ricky Horton on Sunday.
Kale, he's already 1-1 and appearing in his 3rd game of the young season.
Strike at the knees.
Excuse me, 1-0.
Pinheiro can only get the win tonight. As Pujols pops it up. Into the green seats it goes. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Kale's in his 15th season and 3rd stint with Houston. But they're a team that bring back a lot of guys, don't they?
Sure do. Popped up. Foul territory. Berkman is out. Brings in Ludwig. I think maybe Springer was one of those guys who was there a couple of times.
I think Trevor Miller's been there a couple times. Remember how many times Brad Osmus, I think he was there 3 different times. Used to have a shuffle between Houston and Detroit. Ludwig extended his hitting streak to 15 games with a double and RBI in the 3rd. Albert hitless tonight.
2-0. Time called. Turn on an inside pitch. 2 balls and 1 strike on Ludwig.
I don't know if Albert was kind of showing that it looked like a little bit of a different motion from Brocail as he really wrapped the ball on that last delivery. Really short arming the ball. And it seems like he's hiding the ball a little more effectively.
Ludwig, deep left center, to the track, to the wall, and it's out of here. Ludwig makes it 5-2.
His 2nd home run of the season and his 2nd RBI tonight. So watch this one. This breaking ball stays up out over the middle of the plate, and a good swing on it. And you like the way he runs around those bases. He knew it was a home run. No showboating, no showing up the pitcher.
Eric Ludwig, his brother, has talked about the hips and the quick hands of Ryan Ludwig, his brother.
He's a low ball hitter and gets those arms extended and everything.
Five to 2 Cardinals. Ludwig with a pair of RBIs. Two balls and no strikes on Duncan. And a 2-out single in the first. Brought in the first run of the game. That was Schumacher's. Had a 3-hit night. 3-0. Tony turned him loose on 3-0 and a 3-run lead here in the 7th. Here's a 3-0 pitch. Ball 4 to Duncan. Take a look at the Hardy's prime cut of the game from Ryan Ludwig. His second home run of the season. Just explodes, doesn't he, Al, under the baseball?
And see him gear back up there, but then those hips and get the arms extension, loads up on the backside, and then he comes through. And a wiry body just attacking the ball. Dewey Robinson, the pitching coach, out to talk to Brocale.
So Brendan Ryan will be the pinch runner for Duncan. And you would figure then that Ryan stays in, plays second. You can move Skip to the outfield.
It's one of those odd ones. You take out 2 players for defense, and one of those players you remove for defense goes to become the defensive player for the other. And Schumacher will move from second to the outfield.
Pitch instead of check on Ryan over at first base. Certainly a threat to steal. Pudge Rodriguez, after all these years, is still a fine thrower.
No doubt about it. I don't think he's as good as Molina overall defensively, but he can still nail base runners.
Two really good defensive players, Rodriguez and Molina. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out, and a runner at first.
Giovanni Soto, another very good catcher from Puerto Rico. The Cubs catcher's hurt now.
Rodriguez, a throw to second. Matsui out in front of the bag. A good jump by Brendan Ryan.
Stole off the pitcher, but the strong throw is to the third base side, and Brendan with a good slide to the back half of the bag and then holds on. Let's watch this perennial Gold Glove winner down here. Throw low, comes out, still very quick, and a quick release, snap throw. Just a little bit offline is to the third base side. And there's what I'm talking about, Brendan Ryan. Goes the back half and just holds on and stays with the bag.
Three and 1. Hitters count here for Molina, trying to add to this 5-2 lead. Yadier's walked. He picked up the RBI on a tapper back to Mike Hampton, who lobbed the ball to first. Pujols would score from third, and he's also lined out to center. Down the right field line, plenty deep, but out of play. Caught that in his blanket, I think. No activity, by the way, in the Cardinals bullpen.
A little surprising, isn't it?
Yeah.
Other than the fact maybe they just want to get Kenny a little work.
A 3-2 to Molina. Ball 4. So home run and back-to-back walks, and now it's Ricky and Keel. First and second with 1 out. Talk about middle relief and how important that is in the game of baseball. The guys that can bridge the gap from the starter to that closer. We got a very good one out there in Valverde.
Burdack, the lefty, throwing in the bullpen for Houston.
And Keel has walked and scored. That was back in the 6th. The double by Schumacher. He struck out and grounded out. 1-0 pitch. 2 balls, no strikes.
Cal just looks like it's throwing from a different arm angle, and usually a pretty reliable reliever. Been around 15 years, you know you're doing something right.
A 3-0. And the bases are loaded for David Freese. Last time up, Freese flied to a deep right, the wall. So the home run by Ludwig. Walk to Duncan. Ryan, the pinch runner. There's Molina at second after his walk. And Rick Ankiel picking up his second walk of the night.
Got a reliever warming up for the Cardinals now, just in case you get to the pitcher spot. It's on deck. David Freese could make it a big Cardinal lead as Kyle McClellan is throwing. Kyle may have been waiting for a little bit of time, and all along was going to have the 8th inning.
Slowly hit to second. Could be a double play. 4-6-3 on the double play off the bat of Freese. We head to the 8th. 5-2. To 2, St. Louis with the lead, and Tony La Russa is sticking right now with Josh Kinney. Kinney had the back-to-back walks, led to a run, but Ludwig got one back with a solo homer. Josh Kinney will face the third-place hitter Lance Berkman. He'll lead it off. Berkman, Lee, and Tejada. Big night for Skip Schumacher. He moves to left field after starting at second base, and Brendan Ryan stays in the ballgame at second. Skip has done it with both the bat and the glove. Let's start with the bat. That was in the first. He came around to score. And an infield hit in the 4th, diving for first. 2-out double to score and Keel all the way from first base. That was in the 6th. And his defense and a perfect lead from David Freese. One of his 2 turns on the night. Looked pretty comfortable.
He's done a nice job, and now he's in familiar territory out there in the outfield. But it's worth continuing to have him play second base because it helps the ball club, and it's looking more and more comfortable. See Josh kind of settle in here and just fire strikes where that's what you normally do. How about that?
That's big. Blues win their game and playoff bound.
And Blues are still they're leading 3-1 in the 3rd.
Berkman, a high fly ball into center. Rick Ankiel is there, and he has it for the first out to start the 8th. Dangerous guy there in Berkman.
Josh Kinney had a little trouble finding the strike zone, but got the final out in the 7th inning. Now he gets to go through this big part of the order. 6:30 left in the 3rd period. The Blues still with a 2-goal lead.
There's Carlos Lee with 1 out, nobody on.
He was 2 for 3 against Pinheiro. Came in, he's throwing slider, and was all around the plate, but not throwing many strikes as he walked 2.
That is cranked out to left. He went down and got it. And a home run for Lee. His first on the year. Carlos Lee.
It's a line drive by El Caballo. His third hit, first home run of the year, first RBI of the year for this guy that will end up over 100.
There are different players when they hit the bat. The sound is much different. Like this man here, Carlos Lee.
See the movement on Kenny's fastball, but he moved a little quicker getting out of the ballpark. So 2 consecutive fastballs, and he jumped on the second one.
Tejada grounds to second. Brendan Ryan with it, makes the play. 2 away. So the lead is cut to 5-3 thanks to Carlos Lee. .396 feet, the estimated distance of the home run. McClellan up for the second time. There's a strike at the knees to Blum. Been on base 3 times. He has walked, singled, and doubled and scored in the 7th.
Missing on those sliders coming in the back door.
He's had a bunch, though, have been very close.
Well, that's just very true. Tight zone by our home plate umpire, Ed Hitchcock.
2-1. Get that late break on that slider.
On his fastball, you know, I mean, he has a tailing action on it, too. The one thing you aren't going to scare Josh Kinney off that mound.
2-2 pitch with 2 outs. Liner to Pujols. He's got it. Sends us to the bottom of the 8th. Home run by Lee cuts it to 5-3. The Cardinals' Joel Pinheiro making his first start here in 2009. And the same could be said for Mike Hampton. He didn't last long, but Pinheiro went deep. He pitched into the 7th. And left to a standing ovation. He was aided with 3 double plays behind him. A couple of turns by Skip Schumacher along the way. Some heads-up base running from Albert Pujols. And Skip has done it with the bat as well, with 3 base hits. 5-3 lead, that's what it adds up to for the Cardinals. Only 6 hits, but 5 runs. They lead it by 2 as we move to the bottom of the 8th. And Colby Rasmus will be the pinch hitter for Kinney against Tim Burdack.
A bit curious that you've sent up a left-hander against their left-handed specialist who's had 1 appearance. He struck out 2 guys in 2/3 of an innings, and last year he held left-handed batters to a 135 average.
Skip Schumacher on deck, and then we'll see Khalil Green. Burdack is from around this area a little bit. You see his numbers from last year. He's from Illinois, Oak Lawn, Illinois. Not too far away. 1 ball, 1 strike.
He'll be batting under 200, so he needs some at-bats. Unfortunately, he's getting a lot of those plate appearances have been against left-handed pitching, but that's part of the learning curve. Burdack's been around for parts of 7 major league seasons. Mentioned last year he held left-handed hitters to a 135 average, 12 for 89, the 3rd lowest in the major leagues with a minimum of 75 at bats.
It's a good pitch, doesn't chase. 2-2.
He owns the 2nd lowest opponent's batting average, 152 against left-handers since 2007.
So is this a way for Tony to see Rasmus handle lefties in this spot? Is that why you do it? Shallow center. catch made by Tejada. Baseball on Fox Sports Midwest brought to you by Busch and Easy Drinking Busch Light. By Bank of America. Cardinals banking only at Bank of America. And by Chevy. See your Mid-America Chevy dealers or shop and compare at STLchevy.com.
Jason Mott warming up in the Cardinal bullpen. They get a shot at saving this ball game. Cardinals have a 2-run lead.
7, 8, and 9 will be due up for Houston. Rodriguez, Bourne, and then their third baseman Keppinger. Quickly 2 strikes on Skip. Big night for him with 3 hits. 3 for 4.
What a difference a year makes. Currently batting .417, and last season at this stage he was still looking for his first hit. But went on to have an outstanding offensive year, batting over .300. Struggled against left-handed pitching, batting .195, but a .340 average against right-handed pitching. And he's better this year because he's had more bats against the lefties.
2-2.
And remember, 2 hits tonight. 2 of his 3 hits were off the lefty Mike Hampton. 2 infield hits.
Two away. Green again with 2 outs comes up. Third time he's done that tonight to try to bring the inning to Albert. So Mott getting loose in the pen, and the Cardinals trying to add to their 2-run lead, 5-3. It's a Hungo night here on Fox Sports Midwest. Give that award out a little bit later on the postgame show.
Cardinals hold on to win this ball game easily. They could have and probably should have won 3 out of the 4 games against Pittsburgh.
So the Blues win 3-1 the final. Congratulations to the St. Louis Blues. Some of the fans now here at the ballpark finding that out.
Yeah, they haven't posted the victory yet, but you can tell by the reaction of the fans. Some of them know, and they just posted the Minnesota win for Minnesota, and I'm sure they'll put up the Blues final, and we'll hear a little more of crowd reaction.
Isn't that something? Blues back in the playoffs.
And now they've just posted the final. You can hear the reaction from the crowd.
Slowly hit up the middle. Nice play by Matsui. Gets Green and sends us to the 9th. Blues headed to the postseason. You can hear the Blues chant here at the ballpark.
Cardinals lead at 5-3 as we go to the 9th. Coming up after the game on the post-game edition of U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live. We'll have player reaction. We'll have Tony La Russa's post-game news conference. We'll give out the Hungo. It's all coming up after the game. Rick Horton, Pat Paris join you from Lumiere Place. For now, we send it back to Dan and Al.
First pitch by Mott. A strike at Denise. Thanks, Jim.
A little better velocity as he starts out with a 97-mile-an-hour fastball than he had on Monday afternoon.
And there's the slider, the secondary pitch. And the Pirates even said, you know, we just basically sat fastball against Mott in that first game.
Well, that's fine, but I mean, they were, you know, you gotta have a little movement or something because they will time you. It's a little surprising, and you see the 12 games he pitched at the major league level, but you know, his velocity was down, so it wasn't throwing 97, 98. There's another slider. 0-2. So he's thrown 3 pitches, 97-mile-an-hour fastball, and 2 sliders. You knew he'd learn from the experience, and he also showed you how tough he is mentally, as he didn't let that tough loss really defeat him or put him down. He really bounced back quickly from it.
2-2.
Obviously disappointed, but he didn't let it, bury him.
Full count. Rodriguez, Bourne, and then Keppinger. If anybody can reach, we head back to the top of the lineup in Matsui. The 3-2 to Ivan Rodriguez. Up the middle, base hit. So leadoff hit. Tying run comes to the plate.
Not only did he give up a hit, but lucky he didn't have a broken or shattered kneecap. As comes in 95, goes out at 195, and maybe grazed the leg, but that would have stung, wouldn't it?
Cold night, you bet. Or even a hot night.
Wouldn't have to put any ice on it. Just hanging out, take your pant leg off and hanging out there in the cold air.
Here's Bourne. 10 hits now for Houston. In the air, left field, Schumacher. Sitting on that first pitch fastball and going after it.
Well,
let's turn now to our Budweiser great player of the game. Budweiser, the great American lager. And we'll give it to Skip Schumacher tonight. 3 for 5, a double, a couple of singles, an RBI, a run scored, a couple of turns on double plays at second, and now he's in left field. A right-hander up for the Cardinals in the pen. This is Keppinger, and a double play can end it. He was the hero the other night.
Plate appearance for his new ball club, the Houston Astros, and he came over very late. He got the first player since Jim Crawford in '73 to have a walk-off hit in his first at bat as an Astro.
1-0 pitch.
Mott throws hard, but very little movement on the fastball, and you can usually get by with that for 1 inning, as a late inning guy. There's a slider, but he's gonna freeze guys in that slider, and it's a pitch. I think it's remarkable that he didn't have any kind of breaking ball last year when he came up, and he's developed that over the winter and through spring training.
Here's a 1-2.
Now, really, until he gets 2 strikes, even if he hangs that pitch, they're not looking for it. Now 2-2. Fastball located on the inner part of the plate. Totally misses location. Couldn't put it in play though. That's part of the problem too with Mott, was not only were they geared up for the fastball, but he was not locating it, leaving the ball out over the middle of the plate, making it easier to hit. Here comes a slider on the 2-2 pitch after fouling off the fastball.
And it's drilled into right for a base hit. Tying runs on. So it's back to the top of the lineup. Matsui, one out, first and second.
Kyle McClellan out there warming up. See, now it's 2-2. He's throwing a slider, but he kind of really eases off on it. Instead of burying it and finishing it off, now he's trying to guide it in there for a strike, and it leaves it up out over the plate, and that pitch becomes much more hittable. And this is probably going to be it, as Kyle McClellan looks like he'll have the chance to finish this game off. Work in progress, Dan.
Yep. So here comes the St. Louis and McClellan. 5-3 Cardinals. So all Mott can do now is watch. 2 runners on with 1 out. And Kyle McClellan, who was very good in his 1 appearance, ending in a 3rd against Pittsburgh, is called upon to try to finish this off.
last year's Cardinals Rookie of the Year with his 68 appearances and tied for the league lead with 30 holds. He'll get his shot at closing out this game. 2 outs to get.
First batter is Matsui. Fastball right on the corner. Look at the numbers from last year.
His first loss was at the expense of the Astros with a walk-off home run by Tejada. But he bounced back from that experience and got Tejada at a crucial point the next time out. He's got 4 good weapons. Fastball, they spotted effectively away. Then he got the breaking ball over, and he's 0-2. Yes, he did.
Swing. Did he go? Yes. And Matsui, 3 pitches and the strikeout.
Earlier was the second pitch was a breaking ball that just kind of go out there and throw it for a strike. That time you throw it a little harder, a little firmer, and not necessarily trying to get a strike 0-2, but you got a hitter to chase it because it was a different speed. Berkman's on deck, so if you're a Cardinal fan, you want the game to end right here. If you're an Astros fan, you just want a fighting chance with Berkman to come up. And Pence is capable of hitting one out too.
Slowly hit to third. Force play at second. That's the ball game. Good job by Cal McClellan. 5-3 the final. Two appearances for Kyle after a rough spring, and he's been outstanding. Schumacher, a big night with the 3 base hits. Cardinals take the first game against Houston. Our final 5-3.
Well, the game is over with a Cardinal victory. Rick and I are standing by here at the Aqua Bar at Lumiere Place, as we will be every Friday and Saturday night for home games, and ready to talk about a Cardinal victory on Cardinals Live. Your thoughts, Rick?
Another good outing by a Cardinals starter. Tonight it was Joel Pinheiro who did a fantastic job. Cardinals bullpen bent a little, but they did not break.
Certainly right. Well, Joel Pinheiro making his first start of the season, and it went very well. We will break that one down for you. Plus, the first 5 games of the season are over. What did we learn from these 5 games? And we'll take you inside the Cardinal clubhouse for player reaction and Tony La Russa's post-game comments. And it's Friday night, which means it's the return of the Hungo Award. Don't go anywhere unless it's hopping in your car and coming down to Lumiere Place to join us. Ricky and I will be back right after this with U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live.